r/AskReddit. What do you miss about the early internet? Waiting for your crush to get on MSN Messenger. And then if they don't immediately say hello, you change your status to offline and then online again so that they get the little pop-up saying you've logged in. Then if they don't talk to you, still changing your status to away so they don't know you're desperately waiting. Then if they still don't talk, you can always hit them with half a random story and then say sorry, wrong person. And then if that still doesn't work, you need to change your screen name to include some dark emo lyrics. Or just nudge them until they get pissed off and block you. Then you message a mutual friend with "I need to talk to X, can you add us to a group?" The crappy but oddly hilarious animated Flash videos. So simple and so weird. Think albino black sheep, Nugget duck, and Airborne's world. And back when you could search funny cat video on YouTube and actually find one, and not a 10-hour compilation of random cat videos that the channel said was funny for more clicks. Or back when regular people were uploading silly or fun videos, and it wasn't all people with sets and producers, and making videos for profit. Frog in the Blender by Joe Cartoon was my fave. Superfly. The lost art of the Flash animation. I still enjoy trips to new grounds and my old favorites from pre-2012. The ultimate showdown of Ultimate Destiny. Personal websites. Geocities. Angelfire. Free webs. Zoom. When I was in junior high, I could wow people with my self-taught HTML skills. My personal websites had fancy image map navigations and other cool stuff. Nowadays, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn have replaced the personal website. Personally, I think that people should go back to personal websites. I've had my own for about 4 years. No one ever goes to it unless I send them there. But it's a much better outlet than ranting on Reddit or something. And you have total control of its content. That's one advantage over social media platforms. The fact that you could leave it. Especially with dial-up, you went online for maybe half an hour and then you logged off entirely and carried on living your life. Now, anytime you're awake, you're connected to it non-stop. Dude, not right now though. I'm just in bed browsing Reddit. Oh wait. I think I'll leave Reddit and search another site for a while. Tabs open Reddit. The lack of algorithms to recommend things that you might like. Now they recommend things I might like. And they are always wrong. Wait. Are you telling me you don't like pages about the different variations of apples from all around the world as the algorithm predicted? Smaller, independent websites. The average internet experience is now Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Amazon, maybe Twitch. If you compare Twitch to Justin Point TV when it first started, it's just so commercial. There's nothing wrong with that, of course. But when I think back to the early web, before big tech companies got their hands on everything, it just seemed less streamlined. The internet has been made smaller by people wanting to limit users to their content. I used to go on a great website called student.com. It was very much early social media. But it felt nothing like Facebook. It felt more like somebody trying to create a community. The admin spoke to the users. Not just about side stuff, but just general chat. It felt more like the Wild West. Like there was stuff to explore. Now it's just something to scroll down on your smartphone. Honestly, it's kind of like if all of the neat, locally owned stores and restaurants in your town got overrun and replaced with corporate big box stores and chains. Sure, maybe those locally owned places showed you a dude shoving a glass jar up his as while you were trying to eat. But at least it wasn't an Olive Garden. Just quit a point, Avi. Never forget. I won't. Edit. Guys, you gotta slow down on the upvotes. This is my main account. I don't need my most upvoted comment to be about a video a dude fishing a broken glass jar out of his ass. This might sound needlessly convoluted, but I miss when there was a clear divide between being online and offline. When going online was something you had to commit to, like you'd just be writing a Word document or playing a game or whatever offline, but would decide I want to go online now to look something up and would have to click connect. The whole always online thing, which has crept up on us over the years, does annoy me a little. I remember buying Skyrim from a game store in 2011, probably the last boxed PC game I ever bought, and being annoyed when I came home and installed it only to find that it required me to open it through Steam, even though I'd installed it entirely on my machine from physical disks. In my mind at the time, Steam was a platform for playing online multiplayer games like Counter-Strike. Why on earth would you need it for a locally installed single player game? I realized recently that abbreviations like AFK, BRB and barrels are pretty much obsolete now. We carry the internet with us everywhere. We never leave. It's great and terrible at the same time. Sometimes I hate that I feel like I can't disconnect and put it away. Don't worry, those abbreviations are alive and well in MMOs. Web pages that didn't move, pop up or rely on over 9,000 external scripts that have to load before the page is usable. I guess you started internet in that brief period after dancing Jesus / rotating flaming skull gifs and scrolling marquees. But before pop-ups, scripts and autoplay videos. Ducking hate that skull gif. When a lot of people put up content and spent a lot of time making something online just for the sake of doing so, instead of following some formula for success. When people weren't concerned about using the internet to make money and get big, and were just exploring this new media. Hey guys, random peen face here. Make sure you smash subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. Most insufferable thing about YouTube now, and the worst thing is, these horribly annoying tactics are actually effective in getting subscribers and views. So it's not going away anytime soon. Consistently updated strong bad / homes to cartoons. Trogdor board game was just funded with 1.5 million bucks. What? Buying it right now. How cool Zio and basically all stick fighting flash videos were at the time. Stickpage.com was the hit. My go-to was stickdeath.com. Privacy. These days your every move is monitored by some company or another for the sake of gathering personal marketing data, where this seemed to be much less the case in the early days. Related to this come all the clickbait, obvious propaganda, etc. Of course, this could just be an impression, as I've simply grown more conscious about these things over the years. No script and double help. When a page isn't allowed to run at majority of what it wants to run, it severely cuts down on what it can monitor. Certainly not all of it, but it helps. A lot. Canvas blocker plus a VPN plus cookies being set to always be cleared at the end of a session on top of NoScript plus adblockers helps immensely. AOL chat rooms. /s/l. 17. F. Cali, U. Zuxo. Helpful forums with a sense of community. I mean, you had to dig for it, but you'd find these forums where you could ask for advice on stuff, be it a game, writing, movies, whatever, and they were like these little insulated worlds. Like picking up a rock and watching what was under it. It was this whole thing. There were big names who cycled around, and everyone ended up knowing everyone after a while. Now it seems every forum I enter is just a bunch of people yelling at each other. There's no community. There's no need for it. People wander in for like 2 days, then vanish. I miss that community feel. Yes. This. Until maybe 2006 there were forums where you actually became friends with other members over time. You got to know each user's personality, know a bit about their lives. People even met up for a rear if they happened to be traveling to the right city, or make mixtapes and mail copies to each other. If someone didn't show up for a few weeks, people would get worried and someone would drop them an email. There was a real sense of community. I genuinely believe that some of the people I got to know in those forums made me into the person I'm today. I'd say until 2008. I was only really active on the net at 2006, and I ran into the tail end of it. I just want that back so badly, and have no idea how to find it again. The internet is this big, massive, interconnected mess where you can talk to almost anyone, and now it feels to me like I'm just shouting into a hurricane. Internet culture then versus now. It was more innocent and about discovery. Maybe you thought it was innocent because you were younger. Content wise it was very raw and sometimes disturbing. I'd say it was disturbing not only sometimes but more often than not. So many websites specifically made to show pictures or videos of disfigured people, rotten. Anyone. Newgrounds was full of hentai and shoot this Muslim video games with celebratory cheers whenever you hit them, etc. You know how subreddits have this sweet spot where it's active enough so that there is daily interesting content, but hasn't devolved to karma whoring and hit posting? The whole internet was in that sweet spot. Like 2003, 2008, 1995, 2003 to 1993, 1994 things were a little thin. 1992, 2006 were the golden years as far as I can tell. LimeWire. Download the free version. To get the premium paid for version for free. That only relatively tech savvy, relatively intelligent people use the internet. There were some trolls. But you didn't have the hordes of morons that you have now. I know this sounds elitist, but it was sort of a idiot for nerds, old school nerds. When nerd was seen as a bad thing. Same thing goes for Reddit, unfortunately. Yeah. I remember seeing really ignorant and hateful things suddenly getting thousands of upvotes instead of downvoted to oblivion. That's when you knew the site had grown into something else. The sheer freedom we had. And the amount of crazy hit that was easily found. Nowadays everything feels like it's behind barriers. You follow one link sometimes, and it can take you down the rabbit hole of ducked up hit. And the feeling of wonder when you found some ducked up hit. The legends it spawned. Nowadays, you have a bajillion different channels that find something and it instantly gets debunked. I absolutely don't want to go back to it. But I do miss when content on YouTube was kinda limited. And the community was tighter because of it. You'd get a cool channel. Sub for sub. Comment. You'd go to their channel. See that they were some 19-year-old from Oklahoma that seemed cool enough. So you'd sub. And even though their content sucked and had no consistent theme, you'd watch anyway because what else was really there that you hadn't already seen? You'd watch this 19-year-old upload a new video every few days. Just random hit. Like him playing guitar. Him filming his TV as he played GTA. Him uploading videos of JPEG images just to use them as avatars. etc. And you'd feel oddly connected to this dude in the middle of bumduck nowhere. Uploading videos of him and his friends doing the cinnamon challenge. And chances are, you never even noticed that he stopped uploading videos. And you don't know how he or any of those people in those videos are doing now. But for a moment in 2006/2007, you felt like you were there in that room. Watching him play GTA as his stereo gently hummed "It Ends Tonight" by the All-American Rejects in the background. As well as the occasional sound of his sister arguing with his mom. And that's ducking crazy to think about now. Edit, before you say, that isn't early internet. Well, yeah. But YouTube is a very prominent part of the modern internet. And this is talking about it in its early stages. Over a decade ago. Sometimes I deliberately find videos from 2006, 2009. Never knowing exactly what you were going to end up with when downloading things from Napster. I ended up pretty scarred from what I found when I opened up the files. I did not have XL relations with that woman. This is exactly what came to my mind too. The screeching when you lifted the phone. Don't pick up the phone. Then AOL would freeze and you'd hear goodbye. What I miss is how mysterious the internet could be and how gullible we were. The internet felt like this strange underbelly of obscure information. First you're growing up in some little town and only know about Star Wars and Green Day. Then suddenly you're finding niche websites and reading about obscure movies and bands and movies you definitely won't find on the radio or in the video store. You'd find dedicated fan sites that had deleted scenes from Alien that you'd never even heard of. You'd find bizarre paranormal websites that every story felt so real and believable. Every low-res UFO and ghost picture could be real. Every story was accepted as real. I read the Ted the Cavagiosities page back then at 2 in the morning and was totally convinced it was real. Nowadays we're skeptical of every story and some Photoshop guy will dissect any picture and reveal how the shadows don't fall right or something. If you could find the right program and file, you could download pretty much any Nintendo game ever. Your tiny world and library of just Mario and Ninja Gaiden completely exploded with potential. I was now able to play this holy grail Chrono Trigger I'd always heard of. Or I would go through great lengths to find a good English patch of this Japanese only game called Front Mission. And you'd convince yourself that you weren't stealing, because Nintendo hadn't sold these games for years. They were unobtainable. You felt like a hacker and a pirate doing that stuff. The internet back then made you feel like an explorer on the fringe. The mysterious frontier just waiting for you to engage its endless opportunity. Man, I miss that hit. Surprised this isn't higher up. Me and many of my friends have talked several times how we miss the exploring something unknown aspect of the internet. Finding new niche homepages was of course one part, especially before good search engines. Then a bit later I remember the same feeling when browsing through folder after folder to find someone with your interests on DC++, and also from people sharing their folders over at Ike channels. Ike. I know it's still around, but it's not the same. It's pretty good if you're into Linux or programming. Freenode is still doing well. Outside of that, people have moved over to things like Discord. For the casual user, Ike is pretty barren. I like to follow console hacking scenes from time to time. I ducking hate Discord. For example, I used to lurk in the Wii U Hacks channel and just log everything. When I had some free time I'd wade through the log and get caught up. The Switch hacking scene uses Discord. Discord seems to actively discourage logging of the chat, as well as any third-party clients, so their god-awful client is your only choice. I have poor eyesight, and trying to resize the font to a decent size means I can only read like 2 sentences on screen at a time. Ike is powerful, simple and extensible. Discord is it. Rant. Ducking, like and subscribe.